Hey, it's Mike. I'm back here to talk more about my records. Yesterday was record store day, so I'm going to talk about it's the first record store day where I actually stood out in line and waited to get a particular album. Usually I just skip record store day and just go either late in the day or the next day to avoid the crowds. But this time I actually waited in line. So I'll show you what I got there, and then I'm going to show a few new records that I got that I'm trying to fill out my collections of some bands that I try to get all of their albums, or at least most of them. And then I'm going to do a 10 almost perfect albums by post-punk bands in my collection, and I'll talk about the song that kind of ruins the album from being perfect. So here we go. First thing I want to talk about is record store day. I woke up at, I don't know, 5:30 in the morning and drove out about 6 o'clock, drove up to Phoenix. I'm kind of out in the East Valley, and I drove into Central Phoenix to go to the In Groove to wait in line there. Got there right around, I guess, 6:30 or so, and the sun was already up and it was getting pretty hot, but luckily the clouds rolled in. We got some storms yesterday, so luckily the clouds kind of covered the sun and kind of gave us a little bit of a respite. Those of us that were waiting in line to get in, it was about, I don't know, about 20 of us or so. It wasn't a huge line or anything, and I was about in the middle of the line. I was about 10 people back. And so got in at 8 o'clock and got the record that I wanted, and this is it. This is called The Sun's Signature. This is Liz Fraser from the Cocteau Twins. It's a new solo project that she has out. And if you know anything about Liz Fraser and her solo career, her appearances in the music business is few and far between. She really hasn't done a whole lot since the Cocteau Twins broke up. She did that little project with Massive Attack on their Mezzanine album, which was absolutely fantastic. And I'm happy to say that this little 5-song EP that she put out is absolutely fantastic too. It really highlights her vocal range and her talent and her creativity. It's just awesome. It's not the Cocteau Twins. It doesn't sound like the Cocteau Twins, but it's her voice. Her voice is just, it's flawless, and it sounds like she hasn't missed a beat. She's not suffering from what a lot of these aged vocalists are suffering right now when they're going out on tour and they don't sound like they used to. Well, Liz sounds just absolutely brilliant. She's amazing on this. So this is a 12-inch EP. This project is something that she did with her partner, Damon Reese, who just happens to be a drummer for various bands in his career, like Spiritualized and Massive Attack. When I went to see Massive Attack in 2019 for their Mezzanine anniversary tour, Liz was there, and she sang the songs that she sang on the Mezzanine album, and her partner was right there playing on live drums. So they had two drummers. One drummer was played electronic drums, and the other one was Damon. And anyway, so this is the project. 5 songs. They're all excellent. It's really not a bad song in the bunch, so it's pretty awesome. If it looks upsetting that she only did 5 songs, well, a lot of these songs are like really long. They range anywhere from 5 minutes long to 7 minutes long, so you really get a very satisfactory amount of her singing on this little EP here. Again, Sun's Signature, Liz Fraser and Damon Reese, awesome. I think the In Groove had like 5 copies of this, and I think 2 people bought it besides me before I left. But anyway, if you can find this out there, I think there were only 8,000 copies of this worldwide. So if you can grab a copy, it's pretty awesome. 3 of the songs are on Spotify, so you can stream it there and listen to 3 of the songs, but there's 5 songs on this. So anyway, very happy I got a hold of this. I was really worried I wouldn't, there would only be like 1 or 2 copies and somebody would grab it before me, but I was very happy to grab that. Inner sleeve is just some information, some liner notes there, and then just a little dedication on the back. And it's black vinyl, just a little label there. So anyway, Sun Signature, Liz Frazier. I mentioned that that's it. That's all I got for Record Store Day. That's all I wanted. Breeders is a band I love, and I finally got their second album, The Last Splash, on 4AD Records. I've always wanted to have this, and I would see it in the stores, and I put it off, and then it disappeared for a while. I put it on my little want list. I have a little spreadsheet on my computer, and I have my want list of things, and just to keep it in my mind of what I'm looking for when I go into a record store, and bam, it showed up a few weeks ago, so I grabbed it, and very happy to have this in my collection. If you all don't know, that album, Cannonball, is like their most famous song, and that song is on this album. I really like Saints too. Saints is a fantastic song, but there's quite a few. Driving on 9 and Hag. There's a lot of good songs on this, and I'm very happy to have it. Let's see, there's the label there, custom whatever 4AD label that goes with the designs. One thing I love about 4AD Records too is that they really go all out with their graphic design on their sleeves. So, and all these albums that I'm about ready to show are like 4AD stuff. So I'm really happy with the way these records and sleeves look. This is the most recent Breeders album. I don't even know what it's called. All Nerve, duh. All Nerve. It's a great album. I believe this is their 5th album. And it's got this song called Wait in the Car. That was the first single off this album. And it's such a fun song. It's kind of reminiscent of Cannonball a little bit. And it's really fun to play on drums. I play drums really horribly. And it's a really fun song to play along with. There's another song called what is it called? Howl at the Summit. That's a fantastic song too. But anyway, this is the most recent. They just toured for this a couple years ago, I guess. And I missed it, unfortunately. Scheduling conflicts and such. But anyway, there's the inner sleeves, beautiful designs, 4AD, the Breeders, All Nerve. So that makes it, now I have 3 Breeders albums. I think that's really it. They have 2 other albums, but I'm not really crazy about those 2 albums. So I don't know if I'll get those. So I think my Breeders collection is done. This next band, my collection is done as far as their studio releases. This is called Head Carrier by the Pixies, and this was their second to most recent album. Beautiful fold out there, gatefold, really nice design. I don't believe this is 4AD though. I think this is on a different label. I'm not sure what label it is. It's just Pixies Music. I guess they self-released this. So, but beautiful artwork, Head Carrier. The songs I like on this, especially the Tenement song, I think is a really great song. It harkens back to the old school Pixie sound. Really like it. Nice inner sleeves, black vinyl. There you go. So this is the second to last Pixies album, the one that came after Indie Cindy, which I also have. And then this next one is their latest album. This came out a couple years ago, and it's called Beneath the Eyrie, I believe is how you pronounce that. This is 2019, and this is an absolutely gorgeous album cover. It's printed on this soft paper. I don't know if you've seen that. I believe my Dark Side of the Moon reissue is printed on this, and I'm really afraid to touch this without having like white gloves on, because I feel like it's gonna grease stains from your fingerprints are gonna smudge it or whatever. But I'm made sure I cleaned my hands before I went touching this. But here's the inside of the gatefold. Just gorgeous photography, typography, really beautiful design. This is on 4AD, I believe, right? No, it's on Infectious, but it's but the art direction is by Von Oliver, the late Von Oliver from 23 Envelope. So it's gorgeous. I think this album is absolutely, I love the graphic design and the design, the photography on this. So really beautiful white vinyl here. So it's kind of a pearl. It's not really like a straight white. It's almost like a pearl color, but beautiful. Pixies have a new album coming out actually really soon this year, later this year. So I've got my entire Pixie discography like up to date for this new album to come out. Silver Bullet off this last album, Beneath the Ivory. Silver Bullet is fantastic. It reminds me of the old Pixies as well. So anytime they do stuff that sounds like old Pixies, it's an immediate favorite of mine. That last album, Head Carrier, I saw them on that tour. Well, it wasn't that tour. They toured with Weezer and Sleigh Bells. And it was after that album, Head Carrier, when I saw them in concert. It was really good. They just kind of got up there and performed, but they sounded great. They didn't put on a show so much, but it was a lot of fun finally seeing the Pixies after so many years of listening to them. All right, so those were my 4 pickups as far as new records, and then the RSD. Now I'm going to get into the 10 albums that are almost perfect except for one song that just kind of blew it. So this isn't like a negative thing about these albums. It's just really focuses on how absolutely awesome these albums are and how important they are to me in my record collection, having these records. And I'm just pointing out that they're not literally perfect, because there's usually at least 1 or 2 songs that I don't really care for. So I'll just instead of going on and on about all the songs that I do like, I'm just going to pick out the songs that really don't do it for me. So this is the theme here is post-punk. I kind of loop in bands and albums that, I don't know, they could be sort of thought of as, they could be new wave, they could be goth, but I kind of put them all into a post-punk. For me, is at least what my definition of post-punk is. I'm going to start off with a CD, actually, because I don't have this album. I want this album. I just haven't found a good, clean copy that's at a decent price for me, so I'm holding out. Maybe they'll do another reissue, or I'll come across a good copy of the album used. This is a band, or it's actually a person, Scraping Fetus Off the Wheel. This is his album Nail, his second album. This is Jim Thurwell, or J.G. Thurwell, or Clint Ruin, or Jim Fetus. He has all kinds of different names. But he is the genius behind Scraping Fetus Off the Wheel. This is my favorite album of theirs. It is absolute genius. It's industrial, post-punk, kind of precursor to like 9 Inch Nails kind of stuff. It's before that. This is, what year is this? I didn't put it down, did I? I think it's 1980. Yeah, it is. It's 1986. It's fantastic. And I will talk about the songs that I love off of this, because there's so many great ones. Throne of Agony, Descent into the Inferno, Enter the Exterminator, DI 19026, the Overture from Pigdom Come, and Anything. All just absolutely brilliant, wonderful songs. The song I don't really care for on this is Pig Swill. And it's just boring. I don't know. It just doesn't reach the heights that the other songs do on this album. Highly recommend this. This is the back. This is what the back looks like. Highly recommend this album for those of you that are into really early industrial music. He's just absolutely insane and brilliant, and these songs are just absolutely wonderful. I love this. So yeah, so the one song, Pig Swill, skip it. It's on CD here, so I can easily skip it. If it was on record, I would skip it too. Anyway, but I love that album. Scraping Fetus Off the Wheel, Nail, 1986. The next one of my favorite bands, Tones on Tail, the album Pop. Now, this is not it's not like an official like album release of theirs. It's official, but it's a compilation. It's a American release, U.S. release of their only album that they released called Pop. And this is called the album Pop. And what they did was they took off some songs off Pop and added some of their singles, their new singles, and put them on this. So they added Twist and Christian Says and the song Go. And Go is like their most famous song that's it's been on Stranger Things, although they didn't get quite the bump in popularity that Kate Bush is getting, but it is on there, and it's their most popular song. So anyway, they kind of retooled this to make it more palatable to the American audience, and I think it's a great I think they're great. The only thing is that there's one song on here that I don't really care for, never have cared for, and it's called "The Movement of Fear," and it's just kind of a slow drag of a song, and it's got a really slow, just I don't know, just boring kind of saxophone playing by Daniel Ash on this that I just don't care for that song at all. And I wish that they would have taken Performance off of the original UK version and included Performance on this. Then this would be an absolutely perfect album. Love this. Tones on Tail, the album pop. This is 1984, PVC Records. Anyway, so that's the second one. Next one, and I will always be talking about and crowing about this album on my channel because I love it. It's one of my favorite, probably top 10 favorite albums of all time by me, for me, thought of by me. Killing Joke, Nighttime, 1985. It's the album where the song 80s came from, and 80s is by far their most popular song and always will be. The song that I say drags this album back a little bit is "Love Like Blood," and as I've mentioned in my past videos, that's kind of lessened over time because I really do like that song. It's just not, when you compare it to all the other songs on this album, it's just not up to me. It's not up to speed as the others. But it's still a fine song. But that's the one song that I think holds this back from being just an absolutely perfect album. Killing Joke, Nighttime, 1985. Next one. Love this album, always loved this album ever since I first heard this album. It blew me away. Sonic Youth, Evil. I first heard of this in college, and I didn't even know my brain didn't know what to make of this album, but I absolutely loved it. Still do. And as far as this is Evil, 1986, Sonic Youth, I believe it's what their Bad Moon Rising, their second album after Bad Moon Rising. Well, I guess, I don't know if you count Confusion as next or whatever as their first, I don't know. But anyway, Sonic Youth, Evil on the SST record label. On this album, I would say In the Kingdom, number 19. That song is my least favorite on here, and it's a Lee Ronaldo song. He's one of the guitarists. He sings on it, and it's more spoken word. And it's just, I don't know. I don't care for spoken word, and you'll see that when I talk about any band and album that I don't like of theirs, or a song that I don't like of theirs. It usually involves the fact that they employ spoken word. Don't care for it. So anyway, that would be the one song I would pick out as holding this back from being an absolutely perfect album. Love this album. Sonic Youth. Next one. God, fantastic album. Revolutionary album. Big Black, Atomizer. And God, even when they do kind of sucky songs, it's still way more fun than listening to a lot of other bands. I love this album, and I would say the one song that holds this back is a song called Bad Houses. And again, spoken word. Steve Albini's doing this spoken word bit all throughout that song, and it's just I'm ready for the next song. I want to hear the next song every time I hear that. So Big Black, Atomizer, 1986. Touch and Go Records, I believe. Yeah. And Bad Houses. Skip it. Not good. Next one, related to Tones on Tail. Here's Bauhaus, Burning from the Inside. Their last album, 1980, what is this, 1983? Yeah, 1983, their last album. They had pretty much already broken up at this point. What I love about this album, Peter was sick. I won't shy away from saying this. I'm not the hugest Peter Murphy fan, but I really like this album because everybody it was like all hands on deck, and Danny sings a song, and it's my favorite Bauhaus song, the one that Danny sings, and David J sings more, so he's got a song in here, and the whole band sings a lot more on this album, and it's not just the Peter Murphy show. So love this album. I've always held this as my favorite Bauhaus album. The song that holds me back, though, is the song Burning from the Inside, the namesake of the album. Just boring, monotonous. It just drudges on forever. And maybe it would be an okay song on a crappier album, but on this album, being how great this album is, it just stands out as just not being as good as the others. So Burning from the Inside, monotonous, boring, skip it. So next one, number 7, Butthole Surfers, Highway to Steven, excuse me. Hairway to Steven. God, I'm like not even awake. Hairway to Steven. No, they don't do any Led Zeppelin covers on this album. It's all pure original Butthole Surfer songs. Love this album. Saw them. This is the first time I saw them on tour, and it was amazing. One of the best concerts I've ever seen. And the song that I don't really care for on this is Julio Iglesias. I don't, and it's funny. It's funny to say this, but I don't like it because it's just too silly. And that's funny because Butthole Surfers songs are usually all silly. So, but this one just kind of, I don't know, it's just too much. It doesn't have the serious, dark kind of overtones that most of these songs have, which really make their music so beautiful to me, is just how dark and sinister they get. And that song is just kind of a toss away song. It's just silly and goofy, and I'm not a big fan of it, so I always skip that song. So anyway, Butthole Surfers, this is 1988, Hairway to Steven. Love it. One of my favorite albums. This next one, I've shown this a few times, I think, or at least a couple times. Helios Creed, Lactating Purple. Just a real amazing psychedelic kind of guitar, space rock, stoner rock, guitar genius, Helios Creed. And I think this is his best album, and it's nearly flawless, except for there's one song called Spider on here. And the reason why I don't like it is because I can understand his lyrics on that song, and it's kind of jarring because most of the time when he's singing, he's putting his voice through all these crazy effects, and you can't understand a word he's saying. And that's fine with me. I like music like that. I listen to the Cocteau Twins, for God's sake. So I don't mind not being able to understand the lyrics, but when you can't understand them, it's kind of jarring. And the Spider song just, it's one of the songs that just doesn't fit in with the others. I think the others are just fantastic, and if he lost that song, this would be a perfect album. So Helios Creed, Lactating Purple, 1991. What is his name? Amphetamine Noise and Amphetamine Reptile Records. So fantastic release by him. This one, I know everybody, if anybody's watched all my videos, they're probably sick of seeing this, but I don't really care. The Jesus Lizard, Goat. I love this album with a passion. Saw them on concert for this, and it was a wonderful show, and I just absolutely love their music. It really gets me up and going. It's very energetic, very upbeat, not in tone, but just in speed. The song I don't care for this is Carpus, and it's just a boring song. Just doesn't do it for me. It just sounds out of place with all the other songs, because all the other songs are so well written and just a lot of fun. And Carpus is just kind of I don't know, it just stands out as not being as great as the others. So Jesus Lizard, Goat, that's 1991. What label is that? Touch and Go as well. My last one, again, I wanted to have a rule to like not repeat bands in these videos, but I couldn't resist. Killing Joke, Extremities, Dirt, and Various Repressed Emotions, one of my all-time favorite Killing Joke albums. This album is freaking loud and awesome, and it's brilliant. And there's one song that I just don't care for on it, and it's called Solitude. And it's like one of these songs does not belong. It's like a Sesame Street game. And one of the songs is that Solitude song. It just doesn't fit in. It's more sounding like they are trying to go for their pop sound that they used to have back in like Brighter Than a Thousand Suns. It just doesn't fit on this album, because this album is more of a skull-crushing, just sledgehammer kind of album, and that song just doesn't fit. It's trying to be too cute, and so Solitude does not belong in here. Anyway, love this album, 1990. Killing Joke, and that is it for my list. Thank you all for watching. It's a gorgeous Sunday here in Phoenix. Kind of rained a little bit yesterday, so it's not as insanely hot. So I hope you all are staying safe and hydrated in this ridiculous summer that we're having. And I love you guys. Thank you for subscribing and watching my stuff, and stay tuned. I'll be doing these 10 album things on a weekly basis, And love you guys. Take care. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers. I'm a dad. Happy Father's Day to me, and happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. Thanks. Bye.